you also thank God too for being here. You know, today we'll just share a brief word, and I know God will bless us. And generally, I'll speak about God's love. It is not a complex issue, but in some extent, God's love is also complex. And I know God will bless us. So, from one side, when we all know this verse that we've been quoting ever since we were young, John 3:16. For God so loved the world, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. Yeah. So when you look at the intentions of God, He had us in mind even at the foundations of this world. You see? So even while we were lost before we came to realize ourselves in salvation and to understand that there is a way that God has called us into, even that time, God already had a plan for our lives. And it says even let's read a verse just to start off. This is Ephesians chapter 1, verse 4 and verse 6. And it says, For he chose us in him before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless in his sight. In love he predestined us for adoption to sonship through Jesus Christ, in accordance with his pleasure and will, to the praise of his glorious grace, which he has freely given us in the one he loves. When you look at these two verses, you realize that he chose us before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless. You see, when you look at that aspect of being holy and blameless, it's not something that you can achieve by yourself. Si kitu kama wewe kama binadamu unaweza achieve kuwa holy and blameless. Because we've seen and we all know that we are born out of that Adamic nature. Sindio? We are all sort of sinful and we are inclined to sin. I'm sure most of us tuko kwa groups zenye tunafanya romance and you're aware of that. But you look at this statement that Paul is giving here in Ephesians, and he says that he chose us to be holy and blameless. That is something he knew he would do for us. And how would he do that? How would he accomplish that? This is by giving us the Son, which is Jesus Christ. And that aspect of giving up his Son is an act of love towards us. That's how. And I remember there's a time after tulikuwa tunadiscuss na Kevo, and we were just, comparing thoughts and imagining how salvation would have been if it weren't for the situation of God kutuonyesha upendo in advance. Sasa. And that is something yenye tulikuwa tunasema na Kevin, if there was another way to attain salvation, which was sort of debatable and in a conversation level, then ingekuwa ngumu kuiachieve, kwa sababu everyone would have a thing that they can say and something that unaweza present useme mimi naona hivi na mimi naona hivi. Hapana, there would be debates as they are in the world, but God chose a channel of love, because we all, like, there is no other way you can, sijui vile naweza sema, but you cannot avoid love. It is not something that you can escape. And when someone shows love to you, ni kitu yenye hauwezi hata, like, you can't resist it, to be honest. Like, if someone shows care towards you, you will have a hard time trying to resist that kind of love to that person. And it is something that God designed like that, and he brought to us salvation in this sense of love, so that he can draw us towards him. Because you see, God does not want us to be servants, just servants, but he has called us for a relationship. Chris, he has called us for a relationship, to be his children. Sasa, and to be inclined to his ways, that in everything that he does atatuongoza kwa kufanya, and that is something very remarkable. Na ni kitu yenye ukifikiria, the fact that God would give up his one and only son by showing us this level of love that cannot be attained in any other way. Just imagine of that he didn't choose any other way. He chose this channel of love. I remember, I don't know kama nimewahi hii story, but it's a story that has always impacted me. Na ni kuhusu, there is a time nikiwa high school, tulikuwa tumefukuzwa at some point and it was kwa sababu ya ilikuwa issue ya drugs na nini, and we were told not necessarily like ati mimi nilikuwa, what I explain sana, but it was a situation where ilikuwa opening day na kukapatikana kulikuwa na bag ilikuwa na drugs na nini na vitu mob zilikuwa zimefichwa kwa shule na ikarushwa kwa fence. So hiyo bag venye ilichukuliwa, apparently ilikuwa bag yangu, kwa sababu mimi nilikuwa nimejaribu kusneak in viatu zingine zenye si za shule. So tukaitwa, and then cut the long story short, tukatumwa home and we came back. And I remember one thing that happened. Tukiwa kwa gate, mimi vile nilikuja home hata Chris yote illegal kwa primary. So vile tulifika kwa gate na dada akaniuliza, ulifanya hizo vitu zenye zinasemekana mmefanya ama hizo vitu kuna moja wenyu ni zake? Mimi nikasema mimi dada hata siku kwenu hakuna kitu nilifanya, viatu tu ndio zangu. And we went in. And just generally, kutoka sisi wenye tumezaliwa in African families, how many times that your dad tell you that anakupenda? Hizi Chris anaweza testify kuna time tunaambianga anaweza tuambia, but it doesn't happen a lot. But anyway, we went to the office and it's not like he said he loves me, but the story kind of revealed that aspect of it. So tukaenda kwa ofisi tukaambia nini ati tumeweka sisi hizi kwa sisi. Then kuna mzazi alikuwa hapo, one of our friends anasema ni hao vijana, anasema hata ni mtoto wake. Mimi nasitoka chini. Okay, maybe yeah alikuwa, I don't know, but that was the situation. So while we were there tukasemekana tutachapwa, you know, and kwanza mwalimu akasema I think ndio atachapa zake za kwanza, so akachapa kila mtu kama 5 so tulikuwa na alisho kwa floor. Wazazi wengine wakaanza kupewa kiboko. Venye dada alifikiwa, dada akasema yeye ni chapa. Mi by then nilikuwa prepared, sasa unajua kila mtu ashachapwa. But venye sasa alisema yeye ni chapi, nikashindwa kwa nini ameamua hata ni chapa. You know, and when I thought about it, I realized he believed me for what I had told him. Unaona? But the fact that I told him mimi sikuwa nimefanya hivyo, and he knew that I am his son, na sikuwa namdanganya. But I felt a level of connection. Unaona? That despite my life not being as straightforward as inafaa kukua hata hiyo time, as much as sikuwa kwa kesi in that particular scene, but I had other issues of my own. Unaona? But out of that, like sort of do mind yangu iliniambia by the mimi sitaipatikana tena kwa shida kwa sababu ati tuletwe na dad. Like you know that reality that aki ameitikia like sikukosea, siwezi takata kukosea. And that is the same thing in our lives. Just imagine of yourself venye tu tulikuwa lost in the world and no one sort of cared about the ways of God. Unaona, there's so I don't know if that is the case. Maybe go wengine wa huko kanisani, maybe mtu amezaliwa huko amekuwa na straight path. But for some of us, we know it. We know we've not been straightforward. But even in that being lost, God chose you kiwa huko. Imagine. And he showed you a love that brought you towards him. And right now, what has kept us connected to him is not love. Si kitu ingine. It is that aspect that he showed that love to us. And we responded to that love, knowing that he calls us his children, and he is our father. And we have no other God that we can run to apart from him. You know, and let's just read something about God's love as we proceed on. This is in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 13. I think it's a well-known chapter. Yes. I'll read it and we'll just go through it, and yeah, and I know we'll be blessed. This is verse 1. And yet I will show you the most excellent way. If I speak in the tongues of men or of angels, but do not love, I am only a resounding gong and a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship, that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud, it does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, and always hopes, and always perseveres. This is a character of love, which is this is Paul speaking it out. And when you hear these words that are being said here, you look at that aspect. When you look at love itself, you realize it's another form of thing. It is patient, it is kind, it does not show envy. It is just something, and as the word proves in the book of even 1 John chapter 4, it says that God is love. And that is just the reality. That God is it is not that he has love, but love itself is God. So when you're looking at these characters zenye zina mention hapa kuhusu love, This is sort of like describing God and how He is and His nature towards us also. And when you ponder upon this, you also remember that I think it's in the book of let me just find it. Kidogo. First, this is let me just find it for you. I think it's in the book of John, chapter 15, where we've been called. Yes, I think it is. I'll just quickly read it for you. Once you have verse 9. It says, as the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love. If you keep my commandment, you will remain in my love. Just as I have kept my Father's commandment and remain in his love, I have told you this, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be complete. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. That is the part I wanted to read for you. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Now, when we look at what God did for us and the character of love itself, and then Jesus tells us, okay, he's speaking to the disciples at this point, and he says, my commandment I give, this is the commandment my commandment is this: love each other as I have loved you. We look at this instant, God is calling us to love others like he's loved us. You know, he's calling us to be able to love other people in the same way that he has shown us love. What does that tell us? That in spite of what conditions you might have against someone else, unaona, because there are so many things that unaweza hold that useme huyu jamaa ni sitingi poa, kuna venye hata tukiendanishana naye hata hiyo sweta ya uvaa, like as in, you know, because you are believers and maybe you know uko tu hapo uko like say but there are so many things that you say about a person, but just go back and realize what God is saying here. That like he's showing love to each and every single person, and he's calling us to be able to show that kind of love to others. To be able to embody that level of love and to be able to show it unto others. And I believe the reason I think I felt to share this message this wonderful evening is to tell us that as we interact with other people, even those who are not born again, even those who might not know the ways of the Lord, in true sense, it is only through love that we can impact them. And this is not our own love, because I can tell you, when you get a time ya stage ya kuoa, you will go through counseling na bishop ongelelezi vitu. You realize the kind of love that you are used to is very different from that which is also required in marriage. And you realize there is a love that now requires God's facilitation. Like this is a love that is led by the Holy Spirit. Because if you remain in your own natural love, you may not be able to accomplish what God intends. So I want to urge you this wonderful evening, as I finish up my short message, is that show that love unto each and every single person. Let God be seen in you. Let God's character of love be seen in you. Let that love that is patient be seen in you. That love that does not judge, that does not keep a record of any wrongdoing in your family, in your friends, in whoever you interact with, even those who are not born again. Because I can guarantee you, those who are out there, they're really critical about what you might be doing. As a believer, you're placed on a standard where anyone can question you. And yes, you have to live in a certain way, and a certain lifestyle has to be seen out of your life. And if you deviate from that, then people can question. Because people can question why you don't care. But yeye mwenyewe ukimuuliza atakwambia mimi si lazima nijali, because nothing governs his life. So I want to urge you this wonderful evening, be able to show love unto every single person. Be able to show love unto anyone you interact with, that God may be seen through that love. So that even when people come to encounter the love that we've encountered, the love that God has shown to us through Christ, that we may respond in faith and we may attain the righteousness that we possess, they will be able to believe and know that there is a greater life. Sasa, mbarikiwe sana, and I know God has blessed you. Amen.